Hey everybody, I'm just going to give you a real quick update on where I am with my amplifier project. Those of you that watch my videos know that I run through this stuff pretty quickly. Very ambitious. But anyway, you'll see here on the chassis itself, I've stripped it all out. Everything that you saw yesterday is gone. And a couple of things that you'll note here. I've left this socket in place. That's going to be a 12A7 right here. And I've left this socket in place, and that's going to end up being a 6V6G T. And I've left this one in place, and that's going to be my 5Y3 GT. You'll see here that I've got an input jack, and I've got input jack number 2, and here's my speaker output. Okay? You'll see here that I also have one volume control in place, and I have these two others empty at the moment. Now, why am I telling you all that first? Well, I've had to have a change of plan here. My original plan was to make this into a Fender Deluxe, right? If you remember yesterday I showed you the schematic. The issue I have is that the transformer that I have is probably not the right one to use for that amp. So I've decided to go with something a little easier that I know is going to work well. And that's going to be a Fender Champ, right? So very, very simple amplifier, as you can tell. It's a model F5F1. And you'll see that I've already gotten a lot of work done here. First of all, I've tested my transformer, and I was able to distinguish the windings, the 6.3 volt filament, the 5 volt filament, and the main power. I was able to flesh all that out. This is the high voltage AC right here, and I have to thank Uncle Doug for that. He had a nice video up there about how to figure out what transformer leads are which. So I've accomplished that. I've hooked up the rectifier tube, and I've actually connected it to a dim bulb tester in my Variac and was able to see the filaments light up on these tubes. So I know that I've got the transformer correct. So that's good. Let's take a look underneath, and I'll explain a little bit more about the amplifier. Actually, before I do that, I want to just show you one thing. So the tube complement on this thing is a 5Y3 GT, a 6V6 GT, and a 12AX7, right? So those of you that know anything about tubes, you know that the 12AX7 is a dual triode tube. Now if you look at this amp, at the schematic, you'll see that they've got the 12AX7 basically split in half, which means there's two filaments, of course, there's 2 plates, there's 2 grids, 2 cathodes. That means that you're able to separate basically here, and that's exactly what is happening underneath this chassis. Things I've gotten connected so far: first input, second input. I've got the 12AX7 largely connected, with the exception of this plate. I've got the transformer connected to the rectifier tube, and that's kind of where we stand. So let's take a look underneath. Okay, if you look underneath the chassis, you'll see. Here's my transformer. This is my 5Y3 rectifier tube. Okay, so I've got my high voltage wires right here. Not connected yet. That's a center tap. This one goes to ground. This one will go here. I've got my 6.3 volt filament, which goes to the pilot lamp right here. And it also goes to all the filaments on these tubes on the 6V6 GT. You'll see I've got them twisted and neatly tucked to the chassis. Right here, there's the 12AX7. I also have my capacitors in place. Let me show you on the schematic where they are. Capacitors, this is the electrolytics. There's an 8 microfarad, an 8 microfarad, and a 16, all tied to ground. And they go up into this section. And what I have here is a terminal strip that's grounded, and I have all the grounds of these capacitors here. Right now nothing's connected to these. I haven't connected anything to the top of these, as you can see. On my 12AX7 tube, I actually have the 2 sides of the tube connected. You'll see I have my input and my input 1 and input 2 connected right here. And again, on the schematic, that's right here. I don't have the speaker input yet connected, that's right here. And I've got my volume control connected as well. And this is a 1 meg volume control. And I have some shrink wrap here, shrink tube that I have to melt yet. But I've got the other pieces here waiting to be connected. And you'll see here I did a pigtail on this. I'm going to connect the wire to that. and I've largely got this tube connected. There's just one more connection that has to go to the second plate, which I haven't done yet. This is going to be pretty much a weekend project because this thing is flying along really quick. The only thing I don't have is the 12AX7 octal tube, which I just ordered. So when that comes in, I'll be able to plug it in and test it. But I'm cranking right along here, and I'm going to make sure that this chassis works well, no hum. I'm also going to install a circuit breaker in it, or a fuse. I have to see what I have. I may do one of each, and I have to install the output transformer back into the chassis, and this is what will drive the speaker. Okay. So that's where we are. I guess I'm going to continue, and once I have the rest of this all connected, that's when I'll do the next video. So you know, I'm not going to do a lot on this series. Just this is going to be just a quickie. I thought it would take longer, but that's okay. Now, one other thing that I should mention is after I get done with this amp, I am going to build a Fender Deluxe right here. I ordered the parts today, and I'm going to build it from scratch. Because I'd like to, and I have a great idea. I'm going to actually install it in an old radio cabinet that I have, an old Atwater Kent cabinet that I'm going to turn into a Fender Deluxe, and you'll see how that comes along when we get to that. So that's going to be the project after this one. Anyway, that's the update. And again, you know, I'll come back when I have everything else connected correctly, and then of course we'll do the first fire up and see how that goes, and then we'll take it from there. All right, everybody, have a great 4th of July. Remember, we're celebrating our independence here if you live in the United States. So take a minute to put out your flag and salute, okay? This is Ron. Have a great holiday. Be safe out there.